Coffee cup on my nightstand. Not to reminisce, just a reminder to never go back to a life we shared. Anytime I'm feeling the urge to look at a picture, oh, I get so confused. 'Cause I swear I am so over you. My mommy told me that we shouldn't worry. Daddy told me just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine we had one more life, one more shot at sunrise. Erase everything, start with new eyes. No more practicing tragic goodbyes. What if this was?
One, two. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet. Unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Buttery, I love you. You're listening to PHP Ugly, episode 344, recording live on the internets right now, July 20th, 2023. If this is your first time listening or watching us, welcome. We are a group of passionate PHP developers that stream weekly on Thursday night, where we talk about our lives as professional PHP developers, business owners, and friends. This show is made a little bit better through the help of some of our sponsors, PHPStorm and Honey Badger, as well as our fantastic supporters on Patreon, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later. For now, I am one of your hosts, John Congdon, and along with me are my friends, Tom Rideout.
Hello.
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 Unfortunately, Eric's plane went down in the Andes. He will be missed.
Again? Doesn't that happen all the
Yeah.
time? And the main man, straight out of Laracon, Eric, the man, Van Johnson.
Hey guys, I'm not sure how long I'll be on, but I will be here for as long as I can. You know how.
Well, in that case, we will get started right with you. Welcome. Happy
Okay.
you can make it tonight. Yeah, there's conversation already in Discord. I did not mention Discord. If you want to be part of the show, we welcome you. Go to discord.phpugly.com. We're in there all week. Fantastic conversations. But during the show, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific time, you can be part of the show and, help steer the ship, if you will. In there so far, there's been talk about me not knowing what I'm doing, which is true. And if the show goes smoothly tonight, which of course it will, it's just more proof that Eric is a co-host, not the host.
Easy there, boy. Easy.
All right. Eric, you said you don't know how long you're going to be able to hold out because it is so late over there. Just kidding. I really thought you were 3 hours behind. I don't know why.
Yeah, that would be 3 hours ahead. But no, I'm only 2 hours ahead.
Yeah.
I'm on, not so much I literally just rolled in from dinner with some friends. So I'm actually good that way. I'm on an iPad that's quickly running out of juice and hotel Wi-Fi. So there's like nothing good about the situation. And I keep forgetting where my camera is here.
And your hotel has no power outlets, I heard.
Yeah. It's just not convenient. But yeah, no. And I see in Discord, NS Bucky has reached legend status by wearing a PHP Tech T-shirt to the Laracon after party today.
Was this the after party that was invite only?
Yeah, I wasn't invited. No, I didn't go. I actually didn't go to either one of the after parties. I had a full days from beginning to end between going to conferences and meeting people and doing things. So I had a baseball game to get to yesterday, and then today I had a dinner with friends. I had no time for after parties, but I was at Laracon. It was good. I gotta be real with you. First off, I mean, can we take a moment and just appreciate this view of Nashville? I don't know if you see it, but that's the evil AT&T building behind us. Our hotel room is pretty bonkers. It's got like ceiling to floor windows all the way around. Like the whole room is ceiling to floor windows.
That's the room? I thought that was like a dining area.
Yeah, this room is absolutely bonkers. It's got to be one of the coolest hotel rooms I've ever stayed in. I got the AT&T building behind me and a lot of downtown Nashville behind me. It's been a pretty great view. I wasn't, leading up to. I didn't talk much about the conference because, quite honestly, I wasn't very excited about going. Laracon had really become a conference where I met up with some really good friends of mine up from Canada, and it was like the one conference where we would all meet up and catch up, and our families started joining us and all that. And they weren't able to make it, and so I wasn't really sure if there was anything for me at Laracon anymore. But I'm really happy. It turns out I'm really happy I did come. First thing, we just come off PHP Tech, and a lot of people came up and introduced themselves to us at PHP Tech. But PHP Tech is our conference. It's our little world. Like we hype it up. It's the people who know us know we're running the conference. So I forgot that people will come up to you at these other conferences and say, "Hey, I listened to PHP Ugly. I enjoy your show. I look forward to listening to you guys." And I had that happen.
That's because that does not happen. He is completely.
It happens all the time for me. I can tell you this for years. It's because of my voice. Everybody hears me talking, and like I see people turn around, like I know that voice. Yeah. So I got to meet some new people that I haven't met before. Unfortunately, I forgot the one guy's name. I meant A. Winkles, who's in our Discord sometimes. I got a picture with him. But yeah, I met a few. Got to pass out some stickers. You know, Livewire 3. I tell you, man, it's hard. It's hard to think about moving on from Laravel. And that's one of the conversations I had with some people at Laracon. And it's funny because I got a mixed bag of input. So obviously, if you listen to the show long enough, you know that I kind of started to experiment, not experiment, started to try to broaden my range of development and use Symfony for a project I'm working on. But I'm by no means abandoning Laravel. I mean, that's for sure. First thing, we have too many already running Laravel, so even if I wanted to abandon it, I couldn't. But man, I tell you what, Livewire 3, making it hard to even consider, like, just even dipping my toe in another framework.
So that's part of my my worry. Like, we put on tech because we think we're trying to be a more broad-reaching conference. We want to reach PHP developers, and I feel like people feel they are Laravel developers or Symfony developers, and that's why those conferences are so huge. Versus, no, I'm a developer. I use Laravel as a tool. I use Symfony as a tool. How, and it concerns me. How do you get people to think, no, I'm a developer and I want to be the best I can be. I'm going to use the tools that are right for me, and it's not always going to be Laravel. It's not always going to be Symfony. And
so I was kind of curious about where does JavaScript fit in PHP tech, because I mean there wasn't a big JavaScript presence, but a lot of full stack developers now are using stuff like React, Vue, Livewire, and having to do at least some JavaScript.
it's a discussion to be had. We didn't necessarily turn down JavaScript talks, but it's a PHP centric conference. So how much do you really want to not push PHP or JavaScript? It's a huge and important piece of web development. But
Right.
oftentimes you have a team where you have your backend team doing PHP and your front end team doing JavaScript. There's not many people. I shouldn't say there aren't many people. If you want to do it professionally, it's hard to do both really well.
What was that? How was my week? Well, oddly enough,
we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, damn it. Well,
Go ahead.
I'm technically a full stack developer. I'm definitely an expert in PHP and MySQL and stuff like that, but I am, as part of my position, required to be JavaScript, CSS, HTML developer as well. And picked up a ticket that was front end focused, and the front end team didn't have the bandwidth to take it, and I hadn't read carefully enough to realize that I didn't want to do it in the first place. But a lot of us in full stack development have to deal with the full picture. And when I complained about it in our stand-up meeting, I was told to suck it up, Buttercup. I accepted the ticket, and now it's mine.
So that's where I was at, a full stack developer. Like, yes, I could do JavaScript. Yes, I can do HTML, CSS, but I'm not great at it. Once the team picked up front end specific people, it changed lots of things. Like, I look up to them. Like, I want to be better at JavaScript. I'm just not. And I realize that I can do it. I can hack my way through. But when it comes to architecting a good solution, that it's not my forte. I'll take something, make it work. I can debug it. But writing from scratch, not going to be good.
But do we do a whole lot from scratch nowadays with frameworks like React and Vue?
I mean, we've always had that camp, right? You have that PHP camp of no frameworks ever, always do things yourself sort of thing. And we talked about this last week or the week before with Composer now. That's actually a lot more, it feels like it's a lot more achievable, right? Because you don't really need framework to include packages to handle database connections and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's very much a need for, if you want to call it vanilla PHP. Oh, hey, before we continue, I mentioned it in Discord. We so while we're here in Memphis, my house in SoCal had a power outage, so I lost my desktop, which has an encrypted disk. So it's not just as easy as like asking my NorCal kid who's house sitting to just log back into my desktop. There's like, yeah, they have to pull out the non-Bluetooth keyboard to get past the encrypted disk. And so no bots tonight because I'm not running from my desktop. So no show titles. I mean, feel free to put the show titles in Discord.
So note to self: let's move the bots to a central server.
I know.
Desktop.
I keep saying it. I keep saying I'm going to do that. I'm like, I got a huge desktop. I don't need to move
That's
this.
your server rack is still your servers, not accessible after a power outage. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. Let's put it that way. All right. Before we get too much further, I want to get to our first sponsor. Honey Badger's been with us for a very long time. We appreciate them so much. And with further ado.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Classic Tom. Did look infected, however. You probably should have somebody to look at it. Oh, hi! If you know me, you know I'm somebody who literally wears a lot of hats. I'm a podcaster, a publisher, and a coder. What I'm not is somebody who has a lot of time worrying if their site is giving their users problems. That's why I use Honey Badger. Now, let's be honest. Honey Badger is a sponsor of the podcast, but that's not why I feel good talking about them. I've been using Honey Badger for years and couldn't be happier. Honey Badger has a suite of monitoring tools specialized for developers. It's the only system that combines monitoring, uptime, and cron heartbeat monitoring into a clean, fast interface. Honey Badger offers a generous, free tier, and with just 2 lines of code in about 5 minutes, you can start monitoring your application. Personally or professionally, it works for everybody. Honey Badger can help you identify and fix problems sometimes before the user even knows there's an issue with your site. And at no cost to sign up, it's literally free for peace of mind. So go over to honeybadger.io and sign up for a free account today. What's going to hurt? If somebody asks you, tell them the Ugly Squad sent you. Now I got to get back to podcasting. I got these co-hosts I need to talk to. And they are co-hosts. I don't care what anybody says. I'm the host because I'm cooler than all of them. Thank you, Honey Badger. Guys, don't be rude. Thank Honey Badger. Ugh.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
So Ramsey, who I've been stalking while I've been out here, brought to my attention. I've been saying Memphis. I'm not in Memphis. I'm in Nashville. It's a completely different city. So
did you say Memphis? I wasn't even paying attention.
I must have, because he asked if I drove to Memphis today. I'm like, did I say? I must have said Memphis.
No, maybe he's just asking you. He likes you.
No, he doesn't. You should have seen. I ran into him. First thing,
he ran the other way.
Crazy. Yes, I'm like, and he looked up and saw me, and then just took off the other direction. It was embarrassing. He ran on stage, did like this tumble roll under the screen. I'm like, that's overkill. That's just overkill.
As someone who's done that, let me tell you, it's a sign of flattery.
I like where you were, Tom.
I like Oscar's response of the best part of listening to the live show is you can't skip the ads. That is true.
Yes, absolutely.
Welcome to
Taylor actually walked up to me and said hi. That's always nice when people walk up and say hi, but especially when it's the guy running the conference recognizes you and walks up. I got to meet The Filament team, which you guys know I'm bonkers for Filament. I got to meet Dan and a couple of other guys on the Filament team, Ryan, and I can't remember what the third person's name is, and I feel bad, but they were having freaking Dan is like a child.
Stop trying to remember people's names. Just say I ran into somebody.
I'm not sure Dan is old enough to drink. He always looked young, like from his avatar, but like he was like a child. Man, that guy's got some.
Or we're just old.
That's probably more the truth.
I think we're just getting old.
Yep. The way.
So, yeah, a lot of good stuff.
All right, I have something on my card. I'm curious.
Is it puberty? Because your voice did a real nice crack on that one.
Did it really? Because we run PHP Tech, I'm curious on this. I ran across a link where Freak was live streaming Nuno's talk, and I guess he was also going to live stream Taylor's, and maybe he did, because Laracon wasn't live streamed officially. I guess it's being recorded, will be released later. But it had me thinking, how would I feel as a conference organizer? Maybe he had it cleared with Taylor, all was good. But if somebody in the audience was just live streaming a talk from PHP Tech, I think I would be frustrated by that and not okay with it.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Well, I mean, it's not like
because we're selling tickets to a conference. We are selling tickets to the virtual feed where we are, and we want it presented well. Like, we spent a lot of money on equipment to have decent audio, decent video, and watching a live stream from somebody's phone, you're not getting that.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean,
but it's also like the content, right? If you're live streaming it where anyone can get it for free, why would somebody come to and get it, buy a virtual pass from us?
Because they want to actually be able to see the slides, and they want to be able to actually hear the presenter. I don't know. I mean, I think if it was a problem, like if some like covert group of rogue PHP developers came to tech and started recording all the talks and streaming all the talks live, maybe. But you got one guy who streams his friend or whatever.
Like I said, it was on I think it was Laracon News, so maybe it was pre-planned that he was going to do it for those two specific talks. But it just had me questioning, like, was it planned? Was it okay?
I mean, I'm kind of in the opposite boat, because I mean, like, I struggle, even with the magazine, like I struggle putting up like this paywall for this stuff. I mean, I understand why we do it, and I don't think we're wrong for doing it, but at the same time, it's like I also want to share this stuff. Like, I think if I had my way, we'd have sponsored ads in the magazine that pays for the magazine to allow us to release it, like the digital version, for free. And if you wanted a print version, you'd pay for that.
Getting the sponsors to do that, right?
Right. And I'm kind of the same way with conference, right? It's like if in the perfect world, a conference ticket would cost $50. So I get what you're saying. I do understand, and it is our business, and ideally it will become a significant part of our business. I mean, right now it's not. It's a very insignificant part of the overall PHP architect, whereas the consulting firm is really carrying the weight of the company financially. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call for me. I totally understand, and I don't fault anybody for thinking. Oscar is in our Discord agreeing with you, John, and I definitely do not fault any of those people. But it's tough.
Yeah. Tom, was that your cat crying in the background? So loud.
Yeah. I was under the impression here that that the whole live stream for Laracon was free.
Your cat doesn't agree.
There was no live stream.
I mean,
they're recording it. From what I understand, they're recording it.
I didn't see them recording it. I mean, maybe they were. Like, it wasn't obvious. I didn't see cameras anywhere.
Maybe they were. I don't know.
So here's the thing. Okay, you guys know I will criticize where criticism is due. First thing, I don't know who Taylor pays to do the scouting of venues, but that guy finds the coolest places to hold conferences. I mean, granted, it's easier because it's a single track conference, so everybody's just in one place, but it's finding a facility or a venue that could hold the capacity that was there today was amazing. They made some odd decisions where they had the vendors in the room where the conference was taking place. And the first half of the first day was challenging because I was sitting in the back row, and they had like an opening in the back to like a coffee bar and stuff like that. Oh, in the there's a bathroom in the room with you as well, with one of those hand air dryers. So like the first day, there was so much noise coming from the vendors, conversations, the coffee. Like it was hard to focus on the talk. They addressed it around lunchtime, and it got a little better. Today,
How did
it
they
was a
address
lot.
it? What do you mean? What do you mean they addressed it?
They just told people like, hey, you know, when the conference is going, be courteous. We're getting a lot of feedback that people are having trouble hearing because other people are having conversations, because the vendors were like all along the wall on the outside. So like wherever you sat, you were getting like this side chatter from vendors. So like the first day, the second half of the day, it got a little better, but it still wasn't great. Today, I think they must have they clearly made some changes because today was a noticeable difference as far as I think they just told the vendors, listen, don't entertain people at your table during talks. I don't know if that's what they said, but I feel like something like that happened because
I'm surprised people were walking up during a talk because you're there to hear the talks.
I know.
I mean, I'm used to going to conferences where there's a hallway track, and that's kind of when you go see vendors if you want to do it during a talk, but not in the middle of somebody talking. That seems just odd.
Yeah. So it was an odd decision. It was an odd choice, but it's how it is. It's like you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work until the conference starts going, and then you have to make a little pivots and adjustments. And I think they did that fairly well. It's only a 2-day conference, so it's like if it doesn't work the first day, well, that's your conference. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. The bathroom was the one that was annoying to me because I was like over on that side of the room, and like every time somebody would clean their hands and hit the dryer, you'd hear the dryer go. Oh, the kind of cool thing. I like this, but it's a little off-putting. I get there was a functional railroad track that went along the side of the building that would just start blowing their horn, and it only happened a few times. It was funny because it would like be right in the middle of somebody's talk, and all of a sudden you hear this.
See,
Savvy, I'm sorry you're having issues with YouTube. Sorry, Tom. What?
Eric's praise for location ends up sounding like an indictment. It was great.
Well, there's a difference
between
between how good it looks versus how functional it is.
Yeah. So I didn't particularly the venue was absolutely gorgeous, all brick building, exposed banners and stuff. I mean, it was just really, really nice, but everything was in that room. So like at lunch, they did serve lunch, which I don't know if they've ever done that. They may have done it at Laravel in the past. I don't think I've ever eaten lunch at Laravel, but
I have not. They served it.
Laracon, yeah. So like the conference is going on, and they're trying to bring out the lunch buffets and all that. So it's just there's a lot of moving parts when you put on a conference, and having all those moving parts happen in the same room as the talks that are going on. With, keep in mind, 800 people. I mean, this was like just a lot of people in this space, and yeah, that's it was a decision. I don't know if they'll do that again, but it was a decision.
All right, I'm gonna move us off of Laracon because we talked a lot about them.
We
lot
did.
of ads.
Native PHP. Did Native PHP get the announcement that I was promised?
It did.
And
it's very early. We should talk about this because it's not Laravel specific. Actually, I guess it is because it's a Laravel application under the hood. But it did get launched. It's very early. I don't even think he's officially marking it as version 1. I think he said he's launching it as version 0.1 or 0.01. I don't know. I think it has potential. Again, why would you want to create a desktop app in PHP? Well, because I'm a PHP developer and I need a desktop app would be one reason. But the biggest reason I'm not, well, there's 2 things I would like to see happen before I start using it. First thing is Mac. So I guess 3 things. He says he's going to release a Linux version. So essentially, they're compiling PHP run inside of Electron is what it is. So it's just a Laravel application. There's nothing that special about it. But they do have ways to create windows and create settings and create menus and all that. So that's the special piece of it. But my big holdups on it is that they have no way of protecting the code. So there's no obfuscation or anything of the code. So anybody who you distribute your application to can open up the package and look at your code. They're working on that. They know that that's a big, that's an issue. So they're working on that. The other thing,
a small problem.
Yeah, the other thing that I think is achievable, but it's going to take more work, is it is desktop, right? So I would like to, it's such a small jump from desktop to mobile application. I mean, they're literally like right there. I would love to see it. I think there's a lot more potential for it as mobile applications. If you can develop mobile applications that way, that would be really cool. He did say, and that question did come up, and he did say that it would never be for iOS because Apple would never allow Electron PHP app on the Apple Store.
All right, my heart's broken. I don't care anymore. My whole goal was to take a mobile app that worked on Android and iOS and just have to maintain the one stupid thing.
Isn't that what Cordova is, or Ionic?
Mm-hmm.
Well, doesn't Native PHP compile to Ionic? That was one of the goals that they listed.
No, Electron.
Yeah, Electron or Ionic.
No, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't remember them mentioning Ionic, but maybe they did. Yeah, I don't remember that being. That would be appealing. I mean, that would be very appealing. But again, I don't think it would make it onto the Apple Store.
Okay,
Now, the one thing that they brought up,
to the table then,
which I don't think is that big of a deal, is your true blue mobile developers are going to complain all your file sizes. Look how big your app file sizes are, and I mean, yeah, they're not small. They're like I think, what did he say, 220 megabytes? I forget. it wasn't like a couple megabits. It was, they were bigger, but it was Electron. Electron apps just in general are bigger applications. So I didn't really see that as a
Instagram's
big
like
thing.
half a gig now.
Yeah, no, it's
What a pointless use of space.
yeah, yeah, it's appeal. I mean, as somebody, John's written desktop apps for using PHP before. I think it's an appealing thing. I don't, being web focused for so long, I have a challenge.
It was a desktop app, but it wasn't like Windows. It was Ncurses, which is just a terminal app. But
I'm trying to give you some credit here, John.
I appreciate it. A terminal app was still pretty cool to write with it. But we were talking about developing. You know how else we can develop things?
How?
Tools that we use as PHP developers. I want to thank JetBrains and PHPStorm for sponsoring. PHPStorm is a cutting-edge IDE tailored for PHP and web developers. If you haven't used it before, or it's been a while since you've last tried it, now's the perfect time to check it out again, because it has received significant performance improvements and an expanded feature set. Curious to see if it's the right fit for you? Head over to www.jetbrains.com/PHPStorm to learn more and try it out with a 30-day free trial. Code smarter, not harder. Thank you, JetBrains.
JetBrains PhpStorm.
JetBrains.
JetBrains.
Thank you, Ben.
I wasn't told.
Static binaries. That was the word I was trying to come up with. Yeah, static binaries is what they're building. So, in native PHP. So yeah, that's like I said, I think it'll be cool. I would probably try it here and there, but I have no real need for it right now. But it's going to be cool. I think some people are going to do some interesting things with it. You know what?
Look forward to
would
seeing
interest
it.
you? You know what
is
would
that?
interest you, John? You and I don't know about you, Tom. Oh, and one more side note on native PHP. So it's Mac only. Linux, he said maybe by next week or the week after. Windows, he doesn't have a date for yet. So like if you build an application using this native PHP, today it can run on, you can build one to run on Macs. A couple weeks, you'll be able to build one that runs on Mac or Linux. And he has no idea when Windows. I guess there are more challenges with Windows that they're still working through. But a project you'd be interested in, and again, Tom, I don't know how much terminal PHP stuff do you do, Tom?
Not a whole lot recently, but a fair amount in the past. A fair amount.
So we have a fairly significant terminal PHP footprint at PHP Architect, where we run different commands and stuff. Jess Archer, who, if you've listened in the past, I'm a huge fan of them. They're the ones. She's the one that did the NeoVim on Laracon. Yeah, I always point people to that. She released a new project that is not. Hello?
Hello.
Lights?
It's time for PHP After Dark.
I think we just lost electricity at the hotel.
Not completely, because we still got you. You're still the Wi-Fi's still working.
You won't stop me from getting the word out about Prompt. So Jess released a project called Prompt, which is just like making terminal apps look very pretty and actually have some reactivity to them. I'm very, very, very interested in this. It's not Laravel specific, although obviously Laravel developers have a tendency to write a lot of artisan commands, which this will work for. But it's just a package you can include into a PHP app. Actually, this is a good time to give you.
What's it called?
Prompt.
PHP. I'm trying to find that. I'm not. It's not coming up quickly. PHP prompt or
I thought it was just prompt. Ben, let me know if I'm wrong about that title. What is going on with the electricity here? I'm gonna try to get lights on here.
no worries. So trying to do some quick research. I keep running into readline, which is what I used for my terminal application of the past. But I will have to find a link for the show notes later because that is not coming up. Which is fine. Hey, he figured it out.
Hey,
Look
there
at
we
him.
go.
I literally did nothing. I'm hitting all the switches. I'm like, none of these switches work. And then
How does a hotel lose power and you didn't lose Wi-Fi?
It was just this room. I looked out the window and all the other rooms have lights. So it's just
must
people
be
trying to
telling you-
silence me. You won't silence.
You're being
this
too
voice.
loud.
I think its prompt is correct. Yeah, Ben thinks it's prompt.
Oh well.
I'll have to find it. I'm sure if you look up Jess, look in her GitHub account, it's probably there.
Yeah. I didn't talk about my week at all. Can we move off of Laravel for a few minutes?
Sure, John.
John, how was your week? How many cameras did you add to the household?
That's another story. I have a funny story on that one for later. One, I have a kid that's turning 7 this weekend. That's crazy. I was woken up yesterday morning. I was on call and my phone starts blaring that there's an issue. And I'm like, okay, it's, again, another issue. Acknowledge. I'm going to ignore it for now. Just because it was too many jobs in the queue. But it got me out of bed in time to start seeing other messages come in of half of our data is missing. What? So we have
Precisely half?
sort of. So we have a client that this goes back almost 7, 8, 9 years ago. We had somebody come in and they implemented EAV. And if you haven't used EAV, it's what is the E? Entity Attribute Value. So it's this kind of paradigm database schema thing where you could say, I have a thing, here are the attributes for that, and then the values are scattered amongst other tables. And the way they implemented it at the time, I was like, why are we doing this? And I'm still frustrated that we did it that way because we ended up only using it for one entity, which is real estate. And then all the attributes are the MLS listing, how much the house is valued at, blah, blah, blah. So there's 30, 40 different attributes for that thing. They implemented it that way. One, they wanted to learn about it. And as a contractor that was there very short term, it was, why not use your software to learn about it? It was the only entity ever pushed onto this, even though I tried to use it for other things. It got denied. But the one table that was holding the varchar data, the string data for the entities, was quickly running out of primary ID space. And it was an unsigned int.
That's
4 billion.
lot of IDs.
Yeah. We were running out of IDs on an unsigned int, 4 billion. I think it's 4 billion something IDs. We have 4 different environments, and Ops is like, we will change it from an int to a big int, which is an extraordinary number of IDs available to it.
4,394,967,295.
We were running out of space there, so we're going to go to big int. They ran the update on the other environments, which doesn't really use this system at all, so there's no issue updating the tables. They ran the update on Tuesday night. Took 6 hours to update the table, but Percona tool. Procona Tools is awesome. Like it was able to do an online tables or schema change, no issue. Yeah, they forgot that it was also an auto increment field. So they changed the size, but didn't also say it was an auto increment. So yeah, we'll change it from an unsigned int auto increment to a big int, no problem. Come in the next day. Yeah, all of our new data, all of this data is missing because you can't insert into that table.
Well, you
That
still
was
have a primary key on it. It just wasn't auto incrementing.
right.
So it wrote
So
1 0 record, and then every time it tried right after that, it was
right.
brilliant.
Yeah. So we start looking into it and we're freaking out. Why is this happening? Or what's happening? Then why is it happening? And finally I'm like, let me just try inserting into the table. Oh, this is why. So now it's going to be at least another 5-6 hours to add the auto increment attribute to it because you're again changing table schema.
Is it?
So yeah, it's not a quick change.
No, it should be.
We did it. It's not a quick change. Trust me, I just went through it. It's not just.
Interesting. I would have definitely thought that would be a quick one.
I would think so too. It's just the metadata, right? You're not changing.
Right. It
the
should
data,
just
but
change the schema of the table, not the actual contents of the data, so it doesn't have to do a full table scan.
I agree. I guess MySQL is stupid because it took 6 hours for it to run again.
5.3, 5.4. What do we talk?
something like that.
Yeah. So that's where we're going. Is that?
Oh, you're talking about version?
Yeah. If it's version 5.3 or 5.4, that would.
No, it's 5.7. No, it's 5.7.
Ooh,
but
that's
still.
weird. That's wild.
It took hours for that to run. So in the meantime, I'm like, I can put a quick hack into the code that will, select the max, add one, or actually because I'm stupid, I'm going to add random 1 to 10. So in case 2 come in at the same exact time, the chance, but at the same time, I put in some logic. If the insert fails, do it again, grab the next latest. So why did I add a random 1 to 10? I could just added 1. If it fails, keep adding 1.
I mean, who doesn't love a good race condition?
Yeah. So I got that in there. But then trying to test that it worked, I had the API. So this is all from an API post from the client to update some data. And they're posting the data, but it's not updating. It's not putting the values in like I expected to. I'm like, what the hell? So this is my other little thing I put in here. This is an API I wrote, again, 7-8 years ago, where they could post data to the system that should update it, but it's using the same endpoint as creating a new record. So I'm like, oh, well, I have this existing thing. So if you give me existing with an ID, we'll use that. And then sometime later, some other time, it was like, oh, if you pass in this other parameter, we'll just look for that thing and then we'll update it for you. You don't need to know the ID. If you just tell us that, hey, it's this attribute, we'll just update it for you. So I put in here, having these little hacks in your code, while it seems like, oh, it's just one little hack, no big deal, they add up over time. And then if they're not documented, you're like, well, how do I do this? Half of my time fixing this was trying to figure out my code from 8 years ago. Why does it work this way? It's so frustrating.
See, that's why you don't stay with a job for more than like 3-4 years. So you don't have to.
Oh, is that where I screwed up? I was supposed to.
Yeah. It's all about dealing with your past self. That's the worst part about any job.
That's why people leave. They don't want to deal with them past selves, not the job itself.
On a similar note, I read an interesting article today that was titled "Don't Be Clever," and what you're saying is sort of along those same lines. It's like you were too clever for yourself. You fell into your own trap from a long time ago. But I don't like the title of the article. It is something a lot of senior developers say is like you're definitely being too clever. You're trying to outwit the idea of programming or something like that. But clever does create some cool new things. Stuff that I want to use and stuff that Laravel does. The way Laravel treats models is very, very clever. Not saying it's the best, but damn, it's been successful. And I want to say to junior devs out there, like, yeah, don't try to be more clever than historic senior programmers. Don't try to out clever someone. But do try to be clever. Like, that's how you're going to learn some cool stuff. And when you get busted on it in your code reviews, accept that you got busted on it, but learn from the cleverness. If I never had the opportunity to be clever in my jobs as a junior or mid-level developer, I would never have gotten to the point where I'm at now, where one of the coolest things for me at SDPHP was always someone who said, "Isn't this clever?" and showed something that was just awesome and just worked and like handled so much stuff. So the article has some great points. Don't try to handle every use case with a single class. Don't try to do something without researching how it's done historically and why it's done that way. But do try to be clever. Inform yourself. Go to meetups. Learn from the history of other developers. And sort of like one of the conclusions of this was, hey, it turns out I should have used a class generator, but I didn't know what that was. And my sort of takeaway from that was, well, you need friends who are programmers so you can say, I'm doing this thing, and they can say, hey, use a class generator. Find a mentor, something like that. But don't be clever. Like, always try to be clever. Clever stuff works if you do it the right way.
Sometimes being clever means taking shortcuts or being like, I'm guilty of, I just want to make it work. I just want it to be done. And not looking at the edge cases, not looking at
Oh, absolutely.
a bunch of other things.
But that's not being clever. That's being short-sighted. Now, there is a similar saying, which is don't ever roll your own encryption. 100%. That is a truth. Never, ever roll your own encryption. But do try to be clever. Like, do try to see why does a match work better than a switch? Why is doing a compound class that handles multiple use cases work or not work? Experiment with your clever ideas. Don't just say, I'm not doing anything new or interesting.
Yeah.
But seriously, don't roll your own encryption. Oh my God.
Last week we ended the show, and shortly afterwards I was like, crap, I meant to talk about this.
Immediately afterwards.
Yeah. So GitHub merge queues is now generally available. Have either of you looked at GitHub merge queues and what they can do?
I haven't used GitHub in 10 years.
What did you say, Eric?
No, I have not.
So merge queues looks very interesting, but from my reading so far, it is only available if you have an organization account and public repos. It's not meant for private repos yet. But I often have this issue where there's a bunch of PRs lined up to go into a feature branch or production, and then you end up getting errors because one goes and then the next one fails CI for whatever reason. And from my understanding, merge queues is a way to say these are the next PRs in line. So this is the order that they're going to go in, and it runs through all of the automated tasks, the CI build process, saying, okay, starting from whatever branch, your production branch, add this PR, does it pass? Add this PR, does it pass? As a way to get around waiting, having to wait for that to happen and then finding out later that you have a merge conflict or your CI patent doesn't pass. It just looks like an interesting thing. I'm more frustrated that it's for public repos only and not for private, which is what people pay for.
Exactly.
It's Google all over again. I pay for a Google account. Why can't I use my paid Google account for things?
I had something interesting. I don't know why this made me think of this, but John, were you following some of the stuff in our Discord on the project that the team works on?
In Discord?
I'm sorry, Slack. So I talked last week about how proud I was of some code I'd written to handle file uploads and base 64 uploads and all of this.
I'm still confused why we went that way.
I'm not sure what confuses you, but either way, we went that way. And I was very happy with the code I wrote. And then all of a sudden, like I'm here in Nashville, and I'm trying to follow along with the company Slack, and they're like jacking up my code. It's like, oh, this doesn't work. I'm like, wait, everything works. What are you talking about? Oh no, this is falling through because it's an array. It's like, who's passing arrays? Wait, what are you talking about? There should be no arrays being passed. Yeah, man, I still don't know what happened. Like I don't have my laptop with me. I decided to take a gamble and actually not bring my laptop. I just brought my iPad and my phone, and I didn't even take my iPad.
How'd you not bring your laptop?
It's really, so what I did is I left it on the table at home and just didn't put it in my bag. It's really kind of a simple process.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
I hadn't planned,
left it at the airport again.
didn't plan on doing a bunch of coding out here. Remember, I was technically off this week, but yeah,
that's
so
true.
I wasn't planning on coding, so I didn't even take my iPad to the conference. So yeah, so I'm seeing all these messages. I'm like, stop touching my stuff! Don't touch my code! I still don't know what happened. I need to get home and get on my system and see what all would happen there. But yeah, it's like I felt like somebody was like, like killing my dog or something. I'm like, I feel so helpless. I'm like, stop! It was rough. It was a hard one. It was like my baby.
That's, I wasn't attending. We have a bi-weekly sprint meeting that I was only attending, like my team's sprint meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And something came down the line from another team, and I just saw it and went, Jesus Christ, you guys, you didn't even call me. So now I have to attend the entire sprint meeting for all 5 of the teams, just because stuff comes up and gets assigned to a different team, and I'm like, no.
Oh, you're gonna love that. You're gonna love that, Tom. That's like the funnest thing, to sit in a bunch of sprint meetings where, like, once a week maybe your input would be needed. But yeah, no, yeah.
All right, I got one
more thing. One more thing I want to mention from Laracon. It'll be the last thing I talk about until I mention something again about Laracon. But how long have I been banging the drum on Livewire? How long have I been saying it's basically Laravel components on steroids? I don't understand why they don't replace Laravel components with Livewire. Well, they didn't do that, but Taylor did say that Livewire is now a first-class citizen in the Laravel ecosystem. And if you actually go to the website, livewire.laravel.com, that's where Livewire 3 is being hosted at. So it has been recognized as basically components on steroids, and I still don't know why it just doesn't become part of the default Laravel install, but it isn't. But it's getting closer.
Give it time.
Think so?
Livewire 4, probably,
I'll believe it when it's true in 3 years.
possibly. All right, Tom, do you have anything else? I've got one last thing
How long is
before we
Laravel
wrap up.
LTS support for right now?
All right,
Oh,
you're
it's just
out of
always
time.
one. Yes, I have one thing.
Too late. Maybe not. Go ahead.
Rest in peace, Kevin Mitnick.
Who?
We hardly knew ye.
What? Are you serious?
Absolutely. Pancreatic cancer.
Who?
Did not
No.
get a lot of news coverage, but hacker and public enemy #1, Kevin Mitnick, did pass away this week. It is a damn shame. He was definitely too young. Cocky, but too young.
Yeah, arrogant. Yeah, arrogant, cocky. Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess I need to learn more. I have no clue what you're
That's-
talking about.
That's one of those people
Kevin-
of my generation where I'm starting to feel it hitting a little close to home.
Do you have links to that, Tom?
Let me pull them and make sure they hit the channel.
Yeah, that'd be
All right.
helpful.
While you're doing that, I want to thank.
Kevin Mitnick. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No.
You do it.
No, go ahead.
No, think.
I will do that with my story while I'm talking about my story. Go.
Okay. Yeah, Kevin Mitnick was like the first, big hacker arrest, where he served a lot of time for a very small infraction.
Basically any story coming out of the 90s about hackers, fictional or real, was based off of the exploits of Kevin Mitnick. He managed some absolutely incredible things, including impersonating the FBI agent that was tracking him, designing a radio system that would triangulate FBI radio signals so that he knew if they were in his city or not.
And that's the thing. Most of his hacks were like social engineering hacks. He basically created the whole idea around social engineering. That was his big thing.
Yeah, so
He was 59 and had a pregnant wife.
Yeah, and he was a consultant. Like in the movie Hackers, the whole idea of not being able to use a touch-tone telephone for 15 years, that was the ruling against Kevin Mitnick. He was not allowed to touch a computer, and his telephone had to be a rotary telephone until like 2001. He was so prolific and so good at what he did. Somewhat malicious, somewhat not. He was considered a gray hat hacker, but
he was finding the boundaries. We were still figuring out what the boundaries were in our industry, and he was leading the way. I think he broke into an AT&T. I think one of the things he got arrested for, one of his official arrests, was that he had broken into an AT&T remote tower or something, and it was like getting free phone.
Essentially, if you watch the movie Hackers, all of the different characters, different exploits were based off of things he actually did. So like hijacking TV networks to play videos he wanted to watch instead of what was already on, he did that. Hijacking telex networks to route his phone signal from one phone to another, running his own pirate stations. He was a very bad guy in some respects, but he was an absolute genius when it came to hacking, social manipulation, and stuff like that. And just came as a shock to me this week. So.
He was breaking laws before they were laws. He was breaking digital laws.
They made laws because of him.
Yeah, the Computer Crimes Act of 1989 was written to prosecute him.
Yep, that's real. That's like real.
100% that's real.
Yeah,
because they didn't know what to do with it.
Damn, I can't believe he passed away. Man, we're getting old. God damn, we're getting old.
Yeah.
That we are, unfortunately. All right, I want to thank our patrons on Patreon.
Yeah. And the music's cutting out all of our audio.
No, it's not. Stop it.
I hear you
just
fine.
fine. I do have a question for. All right, I'll turn that down a little bit. For our RM prospect, Eric, or for anyone else that's listening, what does the vote need to be in order to pass on an RFC? Is it just majority or is it 2/3?
2/3.
2/3.
Except under special circumstances.
Okay.
So there are bug fixes that are a simple majority. There are bug fixes that require no vote, and there's 2/3 for new features and deprecations.
All right. Ramsey stepped in, and I trust his word as 2/3. I had to. Just earlier, just before the show, I was doing research, like trying to come up with topics to talk about, and one that just struck me. I'm like, it was an RFC. I was like, what? That's there? And then I looked, and it was 3828, and I'm like, oh, it passed. So I'm trying it out, wondering and it wasn't working. I'm like, what the hell? So I go and I looked at the pull request that was attached to it, and it said it was closed because it didn't pass. And I go back and I'm looking, and I'm like, wait, I looked specifically at that before I went to the before I tried all this, and it had passed, but I had forgot it was 2/3 at the time. And I just thought it was interesting. It was user space operator overloading, so being able to add, multiply, divide, subtract. I don't know why. I don't know how I would use it, but I was like, I had no clue that it was a potential thing targeted for 8.0 that failed.
Oh, speaking of new features in PHP, Livewire. Caleb has completely embraced attributes, where he said he did not care for them much at first. Now he has embraced them, and they are a significant part of how Livewire works. It was interesting.
I had another thing that I meant to talk about when we talked about PHPStorm earlier, and I know we've talked about it in the past, but the productivity guide in PHPStorm. So if you click on the menu Help My Productivity to show you the features that you are using versus the features you are not, is just amazing. And I always forget that. Every time I see it, I'm like, I got to remember to come to this, once a month, once a quarter, whatever. I need to remind myself that it's here. And I often forget to go do that. And it's fun. One, you get to see what things you use most often. Code completion is an obvious top tier thing that we do. But there's one that I should be using way more often that I don't. And it's stupid. I know I want to use in array or array key exists or something, and I need to know what the signature is or whatever. I jump to the browser, php.net/array exists, where I could just do Shift F1 on it, and it takes you right to the documentation of it. I don't know why that fascinated me, but it did. I'm sharing it. There's way more things that I'm not using than I am, and I need to keep learning as I go. Continuing education. It's a theme. All right.
I think
Are we wrapping up?
I think that's good. Yeah, well, I got
All right.
well. That's it for the official live stream. I got some spicy takes for the after party for anybody who wants to hang out. You audio listeners, if you want to hear the spicy takes on Laracon, you're gonna have to come and watch the YouTube video if I don't clip it out, because I may talk too much.
You might. All right. Well, we are going to wrap that up. This is episode 344 of PHP Ugly. Thank you so much for watching. I am John.
I'm Tom.
I'm Eric.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting. I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up.
Like super choppy. Like, it moves every 15, 20 seconds. I get a new frame.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you. Are we on the stream?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not gonna do any after show conversation?
Yeah, we're still streaming.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I asked. Are you killing the stream? You said thank you for watching.
Oh, I was just saying thank you for watching. For if it's part of this actual audio that goes out.
Killing my lights because I've been getting ocular migraines last week.
You're not
sounds
killing
like fun.
migraine. I should have mentioned during the regular podcast why I assume the audio podcast. I don't assume either one of you guys are going to edit the podcast tonight.
I don't know how, so I guess I know.
Yeah, so we should have said something so that the audio podcast listeners would understand why. I'm not editing. I'm not editing tonight. I'm not going to edit tomorrow. Might not edit this weekend. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So
it's all good.
The audio is going to be late. So you want some spicy takes on Laracon?
Of course.
Who's still in Discord? You guys want spicy takes on Laracon?
Before you get there,
yes.
My air conditioner went out 2 days ago. Guess how much it cost to fix it? To actually replace it?
I already know because I had to get one quoted. Yep. $5 grand. $5 grand at least.
You're close, but not even remotely.
You can't be those things. So for the record, the day before we came out, I actually had to get mine charged again because the Freon had run out of it, and so I have. I don't want to sound arrogant or like I'm flexing or anything, but I have 2 air conditioning units. I have one for the downstairs and one for the upstairs.
That doesn't help with what Buttery said earlier about us, for crying out loud. And that's not where the Patreon money is going at all.
Mine is. No, the downstairs one was working, but the upstairs one wasn't, which is horrible because heat rises. So the upstairs was already hot. So I had to get my upstairs air conditioning unit re-freon, and even that was not cheap. Like, yeah,
4,000?
that was no, not that much. 1,000. It was 1,000.
So I replaced my compressor, my furnace, and my evaporator. It was $17,000.
No, it couldn't have been 17,000.
What,
dude?
The entire HVAC system was dead.
Dude, it doesn't cost that much to get a new unit put in.
Not a unit, 3 new units. All the entire HVAC system, heater, AC, evaporator, were all bad.
You got taken for a ride.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Well,
I mean, I was
we
gonna give you
didn't
a hard
lowball it
time.
either. We got a high-end system.
Yeah, I was gonna give you a hard time and say welcome to home ownership, because you just start spending money. Like for the next year, you're gonna be spending more money than you ever thought you would spend on a house. But that number, that's too high, man. That's too high.
It's a good system.
You're saying 17,000.
So I'm saying that the hardware itself was $11,000.
Man, I've never had to have that much work done, but
I priced
that
it
seems
out on
like a lot.
I priced it out on like Home Depot, like just the hardware that we had to get
Okay.
for a six bedroom 2-story.
I mean, again, that's home ownership. Those
Yeah,
things
that's rough.
add up so quickly. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy how fast they can add up. Do you have
Eric, your wife
know-
and Oscar are fighting in Discord.
you don't
Sorry.
have home warranty? Actually, that's exactly what I was just asking. You don't have
No,
home
all the
warranty.
home warranty stuff we looked at, they were going to replace it with stuff that had like a 3-year warranty. So we would just have to replace it again with like a $5,000 deductible anyways. So we would end up over the period of 10 years spending the exact same amount of money.
That's pretty crazy. Okay. Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Are you playing music somewhere, John?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm not. So yeah, my interface is really weird on the iPad. I don't see the music playing, but I can hear that music. I just couldn't hear Harry back.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, that's a lot, dude. Dude, I can't get over that number. Oh well, that's crazy. You have to do it though. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we got an 18-month, same as cash loan, and after 18 months, a 10-year, 11% fixed rate, non-compounding loan. So if it's not paid off in the first 18 months, which it should be, then it's still not the worst scenario.
hey, I don't know if we have a show title. NorCal Kid, did you see a show title you like? Because if you did, feel free to go with it. I'm not going to get. You don't need to do a thumbnail tonight because I'm not going to get to any of this stuff until I get back. So, oh, I see you asking that question. No, I don't. I mean, we should get a title if anybody had a good title. Looking back through
There's
chat
Suck
now.
It Up, Buttercup, PHP Gone Rogue.
PHP Gone Rogue. I like that one. Let's just do that. I forgot why that came up, but yeah, PHP Gone Rogue. That makes sense. NorCal Kid.
wins. It was had a bunch later on. Sure you don't want him to win again?
He was.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Just
is
let
the
the wins
master
decide.
of titles. I should just,
Yeah.
just
It should be a quick change. Laracon.
it's actually pretty good, Larry.
Kiss my past self. Keep it simple. Stupid. Don't be clever.
Well, then I don't care. You guys pick a title. Those are all good. Past self.
That was buttery. Kiss my past self. Kiss with my past self. I like just kiss my past self.
Kiss my past self. Yeah, do that.
I want to hear these dirty Laracon secrets that you've got.
Let me see you make a thumbnail from Kiss My Past Self and keep it PG-13 at most.
Or is that least?
NorCal, at least.
It might be most, yeah.
I don't know.
least.
I don't know what direction that would be going. But keep my kiss my
Past.
past self. That's what.
Kiss,
So-
kiss, comma, my past self. But when you read it quickly,
Or we
you
can do
miss
the
a
whole
comma.
James Brown. Kiss myself. Make John look like he's James Brown. and that actually might get us canceled. Maybe don't do that. That might be a bad idea. So for the most part, I mean, it was pretty much the same, same sort of thing with Laracon. There was some, good technical talks. There were some soft talks, which good. It was crazy. So he did a whole raise your hand if this is your first Laracon, and I'm not even exaggerating. Hands down, the majority of the people there were first timers. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like
Really?
I would
That's
say,
because people that have went in the past are like me and they were jaded by it. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go
it's-
again. So he gets a new crop every year.
Yeah.
that must be it. I
I
mean,
already know Laravel. What am I going to learn?
It's putting gas in the Lambo, so I guess he's not complaining. But yeah, so there were a lot of your regular speakers. Freck talked about one of his packages, and actually Jake Bennett. I'm kind of pissed with Jake Bennett. Jake Bennett did a fantastic talk on state machines, and it wasn't even Laravel specific. I mean, his code samples were Laravel specific, but the general philosophy on state machines was more abstract, and it was really really good. And I'm like, why couldn't you have done that for tech? Like that was a really good talk. I should see if he's interested in turning that into a PHP architect article, because it was one of the better talks I've seen on PHP state machines. But spicy take, I about lost my shit. And for the first time in my life, I almost walked up to a speaker and said, "What the hell are you doing?" I don't want to name names because I don't remember his name. But it was one of the speakers. It was a soft talk talking about basically mistakes people make when trying to start their own SaaS. He had successful SaaS. And he just talking about the mistakes people make, and some of them were really, really kind of stuff we've learned in the past, like release quickly, iterate, and start iterating and things like that. And those are all good. But he said one. I'm like, okay, tell him you're joking. Okay, tell him you're joking. Are you serious right now? You told these people this. One of the things he said, and I'm only repeating this because he said it. I did not misread this. He said one mistake people make is worrying about things like taxes and VATs and all that stuff too early. He's like, don't worry about it. He's like, if you don't pay enough taxes, they'll let you pay them later. They'll just give you a little bit of a penalty. I'm like, you did not tell these people not to pay taxes. I was like, that can't, like, I'm pretty sure that's like, you can't say that, first off, and you shouldn't say that. Oh, man. It's a particular pet peeve of mine because John and I, from the beginning, paid taxes that before we started making money. And it was just like, it's just a pet peeve of mine. It's like, don't build
That
something.
doesn't count as a pet peeve because it's fundamentally ignoring how architecture should be done, like the job of architecture.
Yeah.
Like, worry about everything
responsibility
first and narrow it down, but start with everything.
Yeah.
I have an idea of who it was.
That was so tough to listen to, and
Him.
I just kept biting my tongue. Every time I saw the guy for the next 2 days, I wanted to walk up to him and say something to him. Like, you can't give, especially people trying to start a business, you can't give them that advice. That is horrible advice, and you should feel bad for doing it.
I was thinking you'd just walk up to him and say, like, my name's Eric Van Johnson with the IRS. I'd like to speak with you in private.
My name is Agent Van Johnson.
Yeah,
we got a good authority. You didn't pay all your taxes.
Agent Van Johnson is a porn name, so let's not go with that. It's just Eric.
Absolutely, it's absolutely my porn name. What's your point?
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's
I'm
a
assuming
perfect
throughout
take.
I'm assuming throughout his talk he said, "I am not a lawyer. Please don't take this as legal advice." But
That would have been helpful.
because
Oh
that
man,
just sound
I'm still so. I don't know why this bothers me so much, but I'm still so like
Does you pay
amped up
taxes?
about that. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. And Ben, if you're still around, please let me know if I misunderstood. Let me know if he was being sarcastic because I don't always catch that. But
No, Ben has made it clear he did not understand that either.
oh yeah, totally will.
oh he named the person in
Yeah,
this.
no, I'm seeing
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah, that's exactly who it was.
That's who I thought it was based on the schedule, so it wasn't that hard to figure out.
Ben's trying to get us canceled.
Okay, so Ben heard the same thing I heard, and I was beside myself. I actually almost said something. Oh, so another spicy thing. Um, One of the talks tonight was on security and think like a hacker. I forget who gave this talk, Ben. If you want to give this one
It's
out,
Stephen Reese Carter.
and so the talks were like 30 minutes, and for a good 25 minutes. One of the things he had exposed was like he showed this password in plain text, and the password was something like "holding my cock." That was in huge fonts. I mean, it was huge, just on half the screen. And it was like "holding my cock." The whole time was up there. I'm like, so I wasn't even paying attention to the talk, and J Mac comes up to me. He says, "Check this guy out." I'm like, what? Yeah, another security talk. He's like, look at it says holding my cock, and nobody seems to be reacting. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, it does say holding my cock. I'm like, holy crap, man, it's crazy. And nobody said. And there was a very good mix of people there. I mean, it's a developer conference, so there's only going to be so much representation from between male and female, but I thought there was a fairly good number of ladies there. But even if there wasn't, that was still pretty inappropriate to have on the screen the entire time.
Ben did correct you on what the password was.
Holding his cock. You're right. Holding his cock. I'm sorry.
Holden.
Sorry.
It's a name.
Holden.
Hiscock.
It doesn't make it better. I don't know.
It's more clever, but
So,
Well, I'm happy you went.
was-
Did you have fun? That's the most important part. Did you enjoy your time while you were there?
I was telling the current wife I'm actually happy I came because we didn't talk about all the drama getting out here.
Save it for next week.
Nah, I mean nah. I'm over it. We had actually missed our flight coming out here and had to fly standby. And I told the current wife, I'm like, this conference isn't that important. Like I was already on the fence on whether or not I was going or not going. I'm like, let's just we'll just pull the ripcord. We go home. I'll try to recover as much money as I can, and we'll just move on with our life. But I mean, she was pretty adamant. It's like, no, let's go. We're gonna go. We're gonna get there. It was so funny because the day before, I didn't even share this with you, John. So the day before, like I said, I had quote unquote taken off the week, which was only really Monday. But the whole idea behind Monday was the NorCal kids in town. SoCal kid took the day off. Each had their partners with them. For the first time in like 5 years, we were going to go see a movie together as a family. We were going to go see the newest Indiana Jones movie. First time we've gone to a movie theater as a family in 5 years. I think only the second time or third time the current wife and I had gone to the movie theater in 3 or 4 years. We get to the movie theater and we had moved to this new area of Southern California. We had not gone to even the movie theaters yet. We get to the movie theater and NorCal kid was like, "Man, there's a lot of police here." So yeah, that's weird. I think there must be like a shoplifter or something that they're trying to catch. And we start walking up to the theater, and somebody's like, "Oh yeah, the theater's closed. They have an active shooter." I'm like, "What?"
Wait, what?
Yeah. So that's what we're being told. And there were cops and helicopters. I'm like, okay, that explains a lot. And so we hung out for about 15, 20 minutes trying to figure out what we were going to do. And just like everything was falling apart. So it's like, okay, we can't go to the movies. And I had already bought the tickets. And so I had to get that refunded. But so we decided we're going to try to get lunch. And like just the whole day on Monday just broke apart. And then come Tuesday morning, we miss our flight. And by this point, I'm done. Oh, that was the other thing that happened on Monday. That's when I had to spend the grand to fix the air conditioning. And I mean, just like Monday was just falling apart. So Tuesday comes, we missed the flight, and I'm like, hey, it's just not that important to me. Let's just go home and just try to make the best of the week that I'm not at work. And current wife was like, no, let's go. So she hasn't come out. So to answer your question, yeah, I did enjoy myself way more than I had anticipated enjoying myself. It was so nice catching up with friends. You know what one of the best feelings is I walked into the registration the first day. I walked in the registration to pick up my badge, and before I can even tell the person my name, I'm like walking right up to the table because I got there a little late. They hadn't started the conference, but pretty much everybody had their badges. I walk up to the table and I start to tell the guy my name, and I feel this like hug, this embrace on my back. And Jake Bennett runs up behind me and just gives me this big hug, and it was like, oh, that is cool. It's like I forgot. Oh, and Sammy K was there. Oh,
Oh, I
I should
love
have
that
gone to
guy.
that guy comes running up the aisle and gives me a hug, and yeah,
He's like, what happened around table?
yeah, he's like, you disappoint me. You disappoint me. No, he didn't say that.
And this, the day
But
of my Laracon.
so yeah, JMac, our former DA and former Titan person was there.
Former Titan? He moved on?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know about that? Yeah.
No.
He moved on. He's working for sniping.
Oh, I did know that.
Something.
I did know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
At least I assume that's where he's at.
Yeah,
That's
he
where
was. He was last time I talked to him. I forgot about
yeah.
that.
So yeah, ran into JMac. Ben and I had some good conversations. Ran into the filament guys. It's just so many people, and not to even not even touching on the people who just walked up to me and started talking to me about different things. And Bucky was there.
Mhm.
Obviously, you saw that in Discord. Yeah, I am I'm happy I went. I had a really good time. It was and I am telling you, you know, the current wife likes Nashville.
That was on your short list when you were moving, wasn't it?
It was on our short list, and
Even
that
with the
came up.
humidity, she's still loving it.
She's loving it. Yep. Yeah. So it's we've had some interesting conversations the last couple of days. So yeah, it's cool. I'm happy. I'm happy I came. Thanks for
That's
asking,
cool.
and thanks for everybody who came up and talked to me and made it such a fun experience. I do appreciate it. Oh, NorCal partner there in Discord is letting you know that it actually so this is the horrible thing about it. The active shooter was not an active shooter. It was a kid bringing his airsoft gun to an airsoft store to get repaired, but he didn't put it in a bag or anything. He's just carrying this airsoft pistol, and people just freak the hell out. So he's carrying this airsoft pistol through the mall, and yeah, all things go sideways. Thanks
Which,
for reminding me of
to
that.
be clear, if it were a real gun, would be his legal right to just carry it around.
Not in California. No,
No, you don't have open carry?
no, we do not have open carry.
Oh. I see it all the time in Colorado. It's very weird.
Yes, it is. Well, Ben, if you're still around, what is the carry law here? Like, do you have like constitutional carry, or because I see every store you go into says no guns. I'm like, okay, this is like, what? Why is everybody gotta explicitly say no guns? They must allow people to carry guns here. What is the carry law here in Nash? Oh, I guess in Tennessee in general, Ben, or anybody who happens to be listening.
Well, I kept it off the podcast because it's off topic, but we did discuss it last week. Uber has lost its lawsuit to prevent going to court over treating employees as contractors. So contractors are now allowed to sue Uber, saying that they were withheld employee benefits. So the law that was intended to catch Uber might actually catch them eventually.
Well, that
You talking about
nice.
you talking about in California?
In California.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Whose phone is ringing?
Not it.
I don't hear.
God, I just keep hearing it. Oh, well.
Oh. Don't know.
If you haven't played Dave the Diver, it's great. It's $20 on Steam. Play it.
Dave, what happened to our music? Music went away.
Oh, maybe that's what the ringing is.
No, it's not on anymore. I don't know where it went. We reached the end of it.
We've reached the end of music. Leave it to PHP Ugly to do that.
Nah, I don't know what's going on with it. Pause and replay. All right. Did you get your cowboy? Did you get your cowboy boots and hat? Were you looking for one?
Wasn't looking for one, but if we had the luggage, there was a place you buy one pair, you get two more pair for free, and the wife and I we're all about that, but we don't have space in our luggage, and I don't feel like going out and trying to find another suitcase to take home. So not yet, but maybe on the next visit, then probably, yeah. Yeah, we have the open carry state, but Nashville's pretty aggressive and tries to restrict it. Oh, interesting. I knew it had to be something like that because of all the signs that I saw.
Yeah. Tom,
I think
what game did you say? And what is it?
Dave the Diver.
And what is it?
It is hard to explain, but it is a sushi restaurant management and spearfishing simulator. Not simulator.
What?
Not simulator. Adventure arcade game.
Okay, that went really weird. Alrighty.
I mean, it goes weirder. That's the thing about the game, is it very quickly progresses into bizarre territory.
Gotcha. All right, I think this is where we end it. Eric needs to get to bed. Yeah, I'm done too.
Yeah. I'm getting
Thank you.
migraine.
Thanks
From the
everybody
lights.
for hanging
From the-
out.
From the lights. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.